And good morning YouTube. Another bright and sunny day here in Cheshire in the UK. Welcome to Simply Diagnostics. Before we start, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for the notifications. You can also follow me on Twitter @PicoFlu, on my Facebook page Simply Diagnostics Northwich. Comments and criticisms always welcome. If you've got something to say, put it down in the comment box below and we'll get a conversation started. Thanks for watching. Welcome to another Simply Diagnostics video. Today we're looking at a 2002 1.2 Volkswagen Polo with the AZQ engine in it. Customer complaint is it won't start. So we're inside the car now. I'll show you what it's doing on cranking. All the warning lights are there. Can you see the engine management light flashing? That's flashing every time the coils fire. These are the codes that are stored in the vehicle. So we look in the engine, I've scanned it with ECDS. We've got 17925 power supply relay for ECU, 17966 throttle actuator, 18088 reset restraint limp mode, resistant limp mode, 17909 fuel pump relay, 17976. Right, so basically we've narrowed it down to the fact that the ignition coils are not sparking. So what we're going to do first on the coil, we're going to verify that this black violet wire here, it's the main feed, we're going to verify that we've got a feed there. That black violet also comes up and feeds the ECU pin 3 on the ECU. So we're going to verify that we've got power to the coils. We're going to verify that we've got a good ground. You notice they've got two grounds coming out of the coil, and then also the control wire for the number one coil, the green brown. We're just going to go onto that and see if we're getting any sort of a signal. So set up on the coil, we've got black purple wire here, which is our main feed in. We've got two earths, one going to this earth point here and one going back to the ECU, and then we've got the green brown with the control wire. For scope setup, channel 1, we've got battery voltage going onto the control wire, and we've got the amps clamp on channel 2 on a 20 amp scale. So we'll just fire it and see what happens. Stop that, zoom in, nothing, completely dead, no current, no trigger, no nothing. So we'll just quickly go on the power wire, got the amp clamp on the feed to the coil. We'll see what happens when we do it now. Stop the scope, zoom in, nothing, no current flow whatsoever. But if we just quickly go on to if we take the current clamp off now, so basically the coil's not being triggered. We've got no current flow through to the coil, so let's just see if we've got power at this coil. Scope running. Just turn the key on to the ignition. You can see we've actually got voltage on. Can you see that? Right, so you can see now we're back probed into the power wire, and you can see on the scope we've actually got about 10 volts, something like that. But look at the waypoint. It's not a steady 10 volt power. Let's see whether it'll light a test light or not. So we've got a test light to ground. We just verify the test light on the battery. The test light lights up. Let's just touch that pin, see if it lights up the test light. I don't know whether you can see that. It does actually light the test light. Bear in mind the test light's only 150 milliamps, but there's not enough power there basically to well, we've got a voltage supply, but we can't say that's a truly loaded circuit until we crank the engine. So we've zoomed in on the test light. We'll see if that bulb stays lit under cranking. Key off, key on. So you can see there the bulb does stay lit under cranking, although like I say it's not truly a loaded circuit test because it's only carrying 150 milliamps. Right, so up to now, if you look at the fault codes, what we've got for fault codes, we've got basically power supply issue with the relay that supplies power to the engine ECU. We've got a power supply issue with the relay that supplies the fuel pump. We've got a dash malfunction indicator light that's flashing in time with what should be the coil sparking. So just thinking out the box, if we looked at the wiring diagram, you'll remember that the feed that actually feeds the coils also feeds the ECU. That's the main terminal 15 feed for the ECU. So something's tying in there, something's telling me that there's something not right. I've got my suspicions about the coils. What I think's happened is one of the coils is shorted and it's interrupted. Basically there's a backfeed going on when you're under cranking. So what I'm quickly going to do now is run through the fuses. Now, looking at the wiring diagram, I don't know if you remember, it actually said fuse 37 is the one that feeds, so that's that one there. 15 amp is the one that feeds the ignition coils. I've got power going to the ignition coil, but looking at the wavy pattern, I think that what we've actually got going on there is a back feed, and it's not a true feed. So let's have a look, see what these fuses do. Right, so we've got the key on now. I've got my test light grounded. Just find another fuse quickly and just see if my test light lights up, and it does. So my test light ground's verified. The fuse for the ignition coils is this one here, this 15 amp blue. You see it's lit on one side, it's lit on the other side. Okay, lit on one side, move it across, lit on the other side. Now listen very carefully. Can you hear that click? That's the sound of the fuel pump relay energising when I touch the other side of the fuse. That to me, I've got a back feed. I'm going to pull that fuse and have a look. Keep the camera rolling. Keep the camera rolling. There's a fuse that I've just pulled out. I don't know whether you can see that or not. Fuse is blown. So you saw that then. We had a live on both sides of the fuses, but on one side of the fuse we could hear that relay energising, and if you remember when I cranked it, we could hear a relay energising and de-energising, and the mill lamp was flashing. So let's put a proper fuse in there and see what happens. Right, so we've got a new fuse now. We're going to put the fuse in. Right, fuse is in. Key on. No more clicking. Let's see if the fuse is blown again. Live on one side, live on the other, no clicking. Try again. Nada. So now with that fuse replaced, what we're going to do is we're just going to see if we've got any current or any coil triggering. So we're back on the control wire for the coil and the amps clamp on the main ground. We'll start the scope running. Stop it, zoom in, we've got coils firing. So, should this run or should it not run? So what you can see there is we're on a 10 amp scale and the coil that we monitored there is actually pulling over 10 amps, which is way too much. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to pull the coils out and substitute them for some genuine new ones and go from there. So to remove the coils, we're using one of the coil removing forks just on a set of vice grips, just to save damaging the coils. The trick with these VAG coils or any VAG connectors, you see a lot of these are broken. The trick is to actually push the connector in first, then pull the tab down and then pull it off. No need for any screwdrivers or anything like that. This one the same. Push the connector in, tab down and pull off. And the third one, you can see somebody's already been in and broken the tab off. Can you actually see that? And the third one, you can actually see somebody's already been in and broken the tab off, so we're going to have to get a screwdriver on that one to flick that tab up. Now the good old snap-on screwdriver comes in, just flick under the tab there and it should come off. Quickly whiz the plugs out. One plug, you can see it's actually sopping wet with fuel, so we'll clean the plugs off and see where we go from there. One. That one's exactly the same, sopping wet with fuel. 2. Number 3 the same. A quick wire brushing. Gaps don't look too bad. That'll do for now for the purposes of testing. Not too bad at all then. Right, so that's the plugs clean. What we'll do now, we'll whiz them back in. Best tool I've ever had in my box, a normal flat blade screwdriver with a bit of fuel pipe on the end of it. Shove your plug in the end of it. You've got a plug runner. Guaranteed, you can't cross thread it. Access all areas. Top tip there. Piece of fuel pipe, screwdriver handle in the end of it for running plugs in. You'll never ever cross thread another plug. When it gets to the end, the pipe just starts spinning, so you know it's seated. Next one. Final plug. We're having a run on 3-cylinder cars. 3-cylinder diesel the other day, 3-cylinder petrol today. That's that done, and we just nip them up gently. I'll torque them up later. This is just for purposes of testing now. We'll just nip them up onto the seat. That's that done. 3 new brown box coils. There's the part number. I'm assured they're genuine, but I'm sure they're not. 1, 2, 3. One home, 2 home, 3 home. Right, we'll turn the key and see what happens. Fingers crossed, folks. It's Chippy Friday. We need an early finish so we can go and get some chips. She's alive! Simply Diagnostic fixes another one. Right, let's get that current clamp back on now. Right, so a little bit more time on the screen. It's 200 milliseconds. Zoom in the right way. I don't know why this is doing that. You can see there they're still pulling around 14 amps, but what we can do now is quickly set a trigger trigger, trace 2, exit, bring the trigger up into the middle of the screen, less time on the screen now, so it's done 50 milliseconds, 10 milliseconds, and let's have a look at what's happening with this coil. Turn channel 1 off, we don't need that. Right, so zoomed in now. We're on 10 milliseconds. You can see a little bit of coil oscillation. There's no sign of a shorted coil there. What we'll do now, we'll actually stop the scope, turn the car off. Well, let's just have a look at this waveform. Right, so that's one. We'll zoom out. See if we can get. Right, so there's one coil. No sign of a short. Another coil, no sign of a short, because you've got a nice gradient here. You've got some coil ring in there in that area. Coil ring in there that you can see. No, any sort of a straight up line there indicates a shorted coil. I'm quite happy with that. The next one. We zoomed in on that one there. Again, bit of coil oscillation at the beginning, bit there. No sign of a short, so I'm quite happy with that. Although they are pulling a lot more amperage than I thought they should. I'd be normally expecting to see about 6 or 7 amps, and this is pulling probably best part of 14 or 15. Yeah, probably about 15 amps. So yeah, but we've got a runner. Right, so to conclude this, this is why really you don't need to be taking fault codes for what there are, because if you were going at that, you'd be swapping relays, you'd be doing all sorts of stuff. One blown fuse, back feeding, makes the diagnostic a bit more complicated, but what we can see from that clearly, we've had a shorted coil that's blown the fuse and give us all those problems. Misleading DTCs, misleading checks at the fuse. If you remember when I first checked that fuse, it was live on both sides, but when I put the test light on one side of it, you could hear a relay clicking. That was a massive clue to me, that was. It was a big clue. Plus the voltage pattern that we saw on the main feed for the coils, how it was oscillating, that also was indicating to me that it wasn't pure voltage and that we were getting a back feed. It was being influenced from something else. So this is going to get new plugs, new coils. I'll just give it over, clear all the fault codes and stuff like that, but new plugs and new coils should sort this. It's a lot cheaper than a computer and genuine relays and all that. So hope you enjoyed the video. Have an awesome Chippy Friday. And don't forget, you can also subscribe to my channel, hit the like button if you liked it, comment, thumbs up, comment and thumbs down if you didn't enjoy it. You know, critical feedback. I'm quite happy for criticism. If you tell me why you don't like the videos, I can improve. So like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to follow me on Twitter @PicoFlu, and have a look at my business page on Facebook, simply Diagnostics Northwich. Thanks for watching.